The Parasaur gets to reveal enemy dinos. The Stego has different plate modes. And what do I get? A bleed. Yay. In Ark, there are many creatures for all different kinds of purposes. Whether that being a good fighter, resource gatherer, traveling mount, and many more. However, some of these creatures were a bit lacking when it came to either abilities or their appearance. So Ark decided to do up to 3 different kinds of waves for TLCs. For anyone that doesn't know what a TLC is, or also known as Tender Love and Care, that is when a creature in Ark gets a remodel or a new set of abilities that makes the creature more viable in the game. Despite the amount of creatures that did receive a TLC, there are still some creatures that still need one in Ark, and that's what today's video is going to be about. In this video, I've created up to 5 different creature TLCs for creatures I believe should receive one. Also, I am aware some of the concept ideas that I have submitted are not going to probably be 100% original, but I did my best to try to make all my TLCs unique compared to everyone else. So without further ado, let's get straight into my TLCs I've made. The first creature TLC I made is for a creature that's been highly requested in Ark to get one, and that being the Ario. When it comes to bugs or arachnids in this case, the Ario is probably the most useless creature under that category. The Ario really only has a bite that applies torpor and has a web shot that slows down a target, and I don't think that makes this creature good enough. In my TLC, I'm going to be removing these abilities since I don't find them super useful and they're just there just to be an annoyance. So first thing is something that should have been already a thing for the Ario is the ability to climb up walls. I feel like I don't need to really explain why the Ario should have this. I mean, it's a spider, climb up walls, simple. The next ability the Ario I think should have is the passive ability to produce its own type of silk called the Ario Silk when setting to Wonder. This silk can be useful for any craftable items that require silk with it. This silk is also used for the Ario's next ability, craftable web walls. These web walls can be placed anywhere and don't need a foundation to be placed on. Any creatures that walk in the wall or do a melee attack will gain 1 stack of webbing, reducing their movement speed by 20%. This effect can stack up to 5 times or until the creature enters into a webbed state. Creatures will enter a webbed state depending on the size of them, so smaller creatures will be a webbed state faster than larger creatures. While being webbed, a creature cannot use any attacks, abilities, and if they are being ridden on by a rider, that rider will also be webbed. However, a creature or player can be freed if someone else uses a sharp weapon to free them from the web. They can also be freed a lot faster if a flamethrower or creature fire ability is used on them. And lastly, for this ability, if a creature is webbed and the Ario bites down on them, the Ario will heal 25% of the damage it deals to that webbed creature. The last thing I want to do for the Ario is change its bite. Instead of the bite doing a torpor effect, it will apply a debuff that increases all the damage the creature will receive by 2%, and this can stack up to 10 times. The next creature for my TLC is the Diplodocus, or the Diplo I'll be referring to it as in this video. One of the things I'm going to be changing for the Diplo is actually giving a proper attack. However, I think it should still have a knockback ability but as an alternate attack, and this knockback can be increased based on its melee. I think the Diplo should also receive a platform saddle. The size of the saddle will probably be as wide as the Paraceratherium saddle, but a little bit longer. I think making the Diplo a fast-moving tank creature compared to the other tank creatures will be very interesting to see. So I'll be giving it where more it runs, the faster it gets, similar to how the woolly rhino is, but its speed will not be that drastically increased, and this will just give the Diplo a bit more of a speedy edge to the other tank creatures. Lastly, I'm going to give it a unique stomping attack. This ability can be used whenever ridden or it can be set on a turret mode. When this ability is used or when the Diplo detects a new friend, it will start stomping around it. These stumps will not only deal damage, but also prevent any movement abilities or prevent the ability to sprint. Additionally, any enemy survivors that are nearby, their screens will be heavily shaken. This damage will be increased based on how many creatures are nearby, or for the Diplo's case, how many new friends are nearby. The next creature from my TLC is the Lioprudon. I could probably use most of the creatures in the ocean and Ark for my TLC, but I'm going to give it to this creature which most players don't even know exists. For anyone that doesn't know what the Lioprudon does, it's a temporary tame that lasts for 30 minutes and gives a 6-hour buff that boosts the loot quality of loot drops. The first thing in my TLC I'm going to do for the Lioprudon is make it a less rare creature and make it a permanent tame. I'm also going to be changing its loot buff that it gives a survivor when tamed. Instead of giving a buff, the Lioprudon will have a new base stat called Rarity. Each Lioprudon will have different base stat of Rarity, and this can be mutated. Rarity allows the Lioprudon, when it kills an alpha creature, to increase the loot value that the alpha creature drops. This also can give the player different types of items and even blueprints of items. The Lioprudon will also gain a similar buff like the Megatherium when it kills an alpha creature or a creature that is alpha boosted. This buff will increase the Lioprudon's damage by 100%, attack speed by 150%, and receive 35% less damage. The Lioprudon will also come with its own unique saddle, and this saddle can be attached with a mining drill. The Lioprudon also gained the weight reduction of the mining drill whenever this mining drill is equipped. Overall, I think making the Lioprudon a switch army knife when it comes to the ocean, making it a good fighter, a good looter, and a good resource gatherer will make this creature be used a lot more. My next creature will be the Carno. In my TLC, I want to make the Carno the speedy theropod that takes advantage on creatures that are either slower than it or run out of stamina very fast. The first thing I'm going to give the Carno is the charge ability. It'll act like when the woolly rhino charges, increasing its speed. Once the Carno reaches at max speed, it will gain a new ability. Instead of its alternate attack applying a bleed, it will apply a stun instead. Another ability I think the Carno could have is a taunting roar. When the Carno roars at a creature, it will taunt the creature into going fully aggro at the Carno. Any riders that are hit with this taunting roar will automatically be dismounted. Creatures that the Carno taunts will have their stamina drained by 2 times. However, the taunting roar only affects creatures that are about the size of the Allosaurus, and any creatures that are larger will not be affected by the taunt. The last ability I'm going to give the Carno is that its damage will be increased by 3% per 10% of a creature's missing stamina. And my final creature is a creature I think that could have been really great, and that being the Dilophosaurus. I believe the Dilophosaurus should have been a counterpart of the raptor that focuses more on status effects to kill its prey rather than ambushing it like the raptor. Now I would understand the Dilophosaurus probably won't get any changes soon since its main purpose is just being easy early game small carnivore, but I still want to make it into something greater. The first thing we'll be doing is scan the Dilophosaurus to raptor size, and it makes sense since the Dilophosaurus is much taller in person in the real world. Next we'll be changing its stats, maybe make this creature a bit more tankier than a raptor, but dealing a little bit less damage. Next is giving this creature a saddle, and while ridden, it has the ability to spit out its spit. I'm also going to be giving it a fear roar kind of ability, where whenever it roars, its frills will come out, and any creature that's about its size will be feared, and if a creature is a lot larger than the Dilophosaurus, they'll have their attack speed reduced instead. Lastly, I'm going to be giving the Dilophosaurus a lunge attack that will apply a wounded effect when hit. This effect will not only slow creatures, but whenever they move, they'll take heavy amounts of damage. But that's going to wrap up today's video, and I hope you have enjoyed. If so, please hit that like button, and if you are new at all to the channel, hitting that subscribe button will be very appreciated. Also, comment down below what other creatures you would like to see get a TLC. I know there's plenty other creatures in Ark that should get one, and perhaps I'll make a part 2 to this video in the future. Also, let me know down in the comments what do you think about my TLCs. I know some of them probably had a little bit more effort than others, but I would like to hear some feedback. But that'll be it. See ya.